right, so get ready, because today we're diving into some serious White House drama.
Oh, yeah.
Specifically, all the stuff swirling around Elon Musk and, the reactions that he's provoking.
Yeah, it's really interesting how this whole thing is bringing together the world of, like, tech influence and the world of politics.
Yeah.
And they don't always see eye to eye, you know?
No, they don't.
This White House story is just a perfect example.
It really is a collision.
Yeah.
So our deep dive today is based on a YouTube video that you sent over from Pasted Text.
Uh-huh.
And these guys do some great commentary on current events.
Yeah, they're great.
And their analysis here is pretty juicy.
It is.
I mean, we're really getting a glimpse behind the curtain.
Yeah, behind the scene.
All the power struggles and the personalities at play.
Yeah.
And especially the influence of, big money in politics.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're seeing that play out specifically with Elon Musk. It wasn't that long ago that he seemed to be, a close advisor to the president.
Right.
Remember, he was even standing with him in the Oval Office.
Oh, yeah, for those big bill signings.
Yeah, like he was a permanent fixture.
It really did seem that way.
But things have definitely changed.
They have.
According to the Daily Mail, Trump's chief of staff, Susan Wiles, is putting her foot down when it comes to Musk.
What's she doing?
She's reportedly refusing to give him an office in the West Wing.
Oh, wow.
And for those who don't know, that's like the inner sanctum.
Right.
That's where the president's closest advisors have their offices.
Yeah, that is a significant move.
Yes.
To relocate him outside of the West Wing.
Definitely.
That's a clear signal that his status within the administration has shifted.
It shifted.
Probably not for the better.
Probably not.
Feels like being relegated to the kids' table.
Yeah.
Not a good look.
No.
And the Daily Mail article suggests that this shift, has something to do with the perception of Musk as like a co-president.
Right.
Which Trump has said to be pretty irritated by.
Oh, for sure.
Looking at the bigger picture.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder if this is more than just like a personality clash.
Right.
Is this really about this tension between how things have always been done in Washington versus this disruptive style of the tech world?
I think that's a really good question.
It is.
And it's not just about Musk either.
Right.
The Pasted Text video you shared also talks about other shakeups. Remember Vivek Ramaswamy?
Well, yeah.
One of the leaders of the Doge initiative?
Right.
His departure, along with Doge's general counsel, William McGinley, definitely suggests that there are some serious cracks within Trump's inner circle.
Big time. And something I found pretty striking was Steve Bannon's criticism of Musk.
Oh, yeah.
Calling him racist and telling him to go back to South Africa.
Yeah.
I mean, those are strong words.
Strong words.
Even for Bannon.
Right.
Right.
He's definitely not holding back. And I think his comments reflect like a broader distrust of Musk.
Right. From some of Trump's base.
Yeah.
They see Musk's involvement as going against everything Trump stood for during his campaign. Yeah.
And speaking of potential betrayals.
Yeah.
We have to talk about the controversy surrounding Stargate.
Oh, yeah.
So, that $500 billion investment plan in America that Trump announced?
Right.
With some big tech names like Sam Altman.
Yeah.
That's what they're calling this initiative.
Oh, Stargate.
Got
it.
Yes.
Okay.
It was presented as, a major push to boost the American economy.
Right.
But Musk himself has publicly slammed it.
He has.
As BS, phony, and a fraud.
Wow.
He's even saying that the money they promised doesn't actually exist.
Wow.
And in classic Musk fashion, he made his point by posting pictures of crack pipes.
Oh, wow.
And then linking them to that $500 billion figure.
Oh, my gosh.
I guess you could call it dark humor.
Yeah, I guess so. Musk is definitely not afraid to grab attention.
No, he's not.
And his stance on Stargate really lines up with this growing sense of disappointment among the public.
Yeah, there's a feeling that the administration hasn't really lived up to its promises. Like there's a big disconnect between what they say and what they actually do.
Absolutely, you're right.
Yeah.
That's definitely reflected in the Pasted Text video as well.
Oh, okay.
They share some statistics that really highlight the disapproval surrounding both Trump and Musk right now.
Like what?
Well, Trump's approval rating is at a record low.
Yeah.
And Musk isn't doing much better.
Oh, really?
Only about 29% of Americans view him favorably.
Wow. That's what we call an underwater approval rating.
That is.
Yeah.
And this decline in public support seems to extend to Doge itself.
Interesting.
Only 29% of Americans are happy with it.
Wow.
Which is a huge drop from the initial excitement.
Yeah.
When the initiative was first announced.
Right.
And this disillusionment probably stems from all those early promises.
Right, the early promises like
bringing down grocery prices, making housing more affordable, creating more jobs.
Yeah.
All things that,
yes,
most Americans would be happy to see happen.
Absolutely.
But it seems those promises haven't really translated into real change.
Yeah, and that's left people feeling let down.
Yeah, especially considering that only about 12% of Americans think billionaires should even be advising the president in the first place.
Yeah, I mean...
And then you have proposals like Musk's idea to eliminate the penny to save money.
Right.
Which on its own isn't a terrible idea.
Right.
But when you compare it to the $1 trillion in cuts that he initially promised, it feels a little underwhelming, to say the least.
Yeah, this really illustrates the gap between those initial expectations and the reality of what's been achieved.
Yeah. And it raises some big questions about what's really going on behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes, for sure. What I find interesting about all of this is how it really highlights this tension that exists between the tech world and traditional politics.
Totally. They're like speaking different languages.
They are.
Silicon Valley is all about rapid change and breaking the mold.
Yeah.
Washington, D.C. is all about bureaucracy and doing things by the book.
Exactly. And Musk, with his bold pronouncements and his, unconventional approach, really embodies that Silicon Valley way of thinking.
He does.
He's not someone who is used to playing by the rules.
It makes his clash with someone like Susan Wiles even more fascinating.
Totally.
She's a veteran political operator, knows the ins and outs of Washington. Watching them go head to head is like seeing two grandmasters with completely different styles facing off in a chess match.
And the stakes here are incredibly high. We're not just talking about personal ambition or hurt feelings. We're talking about the direction of the country. How technology influences policy. And ultimately, the future of American democracy.
Those are some weighty issues.
They are.
It's a reminder that, this isn't just some reality show playing out in the White House. These events have real-world consequences.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're going to impact all of us.
Yeah, and that's why it's so important for all of us as citizens to stay informed and engaged. We need to understand the forces at play, the motivations of the people in power, the potential consequences of their actions.
So if we kind of zoom out a little bit from all the drama unfolding in the White House, what does this all mean for the average person?
Well, I think one of the biggest takeaways is that power is constantly in flux. It's always shifting and evolving. Those who seem untouchable today could easily find themselves out of favor tomorrow.
It's like a high-stakes game of musical chairs.
That's a great analogy. Another important point is that the tech sector is playing an increasingly influential role in all of our lives. Like it or not, tech giants like Musk are having a real impact on the political landscape and the decisions that are being made.
And not all of that influence is positive.
No.
I mean, look at the whole Stargate situation. A lot of people feel like they were misled.
Yeah, that brings us to another crucial takeaway.
Okay.
The need to be skeptical.
Okay.
And think critically.
All right.
We can't just accept everything we hear at face value. Especially when it's coming from people in positions of authority.
Of course.
We need to ask questions, demand evidence, and hold our leaders accountable.
So being a good citizen today means being a little bit skeptical.
Yeah, especially in today's world. Where we're constantly bombarded with information and spin.
Exactly. And I think, this situation also highlights the imperfections of our political system. It can be manipulated. It's vulnerable to the influence of special interest groups. It often fails to deliver on the promises that are made.
And that can be pretty disillusioning. When you think about it too much.
It can.
But cynicism won't solve anything. We need to channel that frustration into action. Be informed and engaged citizens who demand more.
So it's not enough to just sit back and watch the drama unfold.
Exactly.
We need to understand what's at stake. And use that knowledge to make a difference.
Precisely. You can't just be passive observers. We all have a role to play in shaping the future of our country. And that starts with being informed and actively participating in the process.
It's interesting. For all the talk about Musk's influence, it seems like he's encountering some real pushback now.
That's true, and it raises an important question.
It does.
Are we witnessing the resurgence of traditional power structures?
Yeah.
Or is this just a temporary setback for Musk?
Right, because Musk is known for his resilience.
Yeah.
And his ability to bounce back from adversity.
He is.
But will he be able to regain his footing in this new political landscape?
Only time will tell.
I have a feeling this story's far from over.
It's not over.
The clash between tech and politics is likely only going to intensify.
Yeah, it come in years.
For sure.
And I have a feeling there are going to be a lot more interesting twists and turns.
Oh, yeah.
In this particular saga.
Yeah.
What do you think is the most likely outcome here?
Well, that's hard to say. There's so many variables at play, but I think one of the most important things to watch is how the public reacts to all of this.
Yeah.
Will people continue to lose faith in Doge and the administration, or will there be some kind of shift in sentiment? Yeah. That's a great point. It seems like public perception is going to be a major factor in how this whole thing plays out.
For sure.
Speaking of public perception, it makes you wonder if this whole Musk situation is a sign of things to come.
Yeah.
Are we going to see more of these clashes between the tech world and the old guard?
I think it's definitely a trend worth watching.
Yeah.
The tech industry is becoming increasingly powerful, and that influence is only going to grow.
Right.
And that's inevitably going to lead to friction with those who have held power for a long time.
Right, as we're seeing in the White House.
Yeah, exactly.
It almost feels like a generational clash, too.
Yeah.
You have these tech disruptors, many of whom are relatively young, coming in and challenging the status quo.
That's a really good observation. I think there's definitely a generational component to this whole dynamic.
Yeah.
The tech world operates with a sense of urgency and a willingness to break the rules.
Right.
Which can be unsettling to those who are used to a more traditional way of doing things.
And it's not just about technology itself.
No, it's not.
It's about the values and the mindsets.
Yeah, the culture.
Come with it.
Exactly. Silicon Valley culture often prioritizes innovation and disruption and this move fast and break things mentality.
Yes.
Which can clash with the more cautious and deliberative approach that often characterizes traditional institutions.
Which brings us back to Musk and his role in all of this.
Yeah.
He's become a lightning rod for both admiration and criticism.
Yeah, he's a polarizing figure, to say the least.
He is.
Some people see him as a visionary genius.
Right.
You know, a bold innovator who is pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
Pushing the boundaries.
Yeah, while others see him as a reckless egomaniac.
Yeah.
A billionaire who's more interested in self-promotion than in actually solving problems.
Yeah, I think both perspectives have some merit.
They do.
Musk is undoubtedly brilliant and ambitious.
Yeah. Very ambitious.
But he's also prone to impulsive behavior.
Yeah.
And making these grandiose pronouncements that don't always pan out.
Yeah, like the whole Stargate thing.
Exactly.
It sounded impressive at first.
It did.
But then it just seemed to fizzle out.
Yeah.
It's a good reminder that even the most brilliant minds can make mistakes.
Right.
And that hype doesn't always translate into tangible results.
So where do we go from here?
Yeah.
What can we learn from all this White House drama?
That's the big question.
What do you think is the most important thing for our listeners to take away from all of this?
I think the key takeaway here is that we need to be more discerning consumers of information.
Okay.
We can't just blindly accept the narratives that are being spun by those in power, whether they're tech titans or political operatives.
Yeah.
We need to think critically, ask questions, demand accountability.
We can't just be passive observers.
Yeah. Right. We need to be informed citizens who engage in thoughtful debate and hold our leaders to high standards.
Absolutely. And maybe, just maybe, we can use this moment of upheaval to create a more equitable and just society.
It's a nice thought.
It is a hopeful thought.
Yeah.
Maybe we can harness the power of technology for good.
Yeah.
While also making sure that it serves the interests of all people, not just the select few.
That's the goal, isn't it?
That's the goal.
To make sure that progress benefits everyone.
Well, this has been a truly enlightening deep dive.
It has been.
I feel like I have a much better understanding of the forces at play.
Good. I'm glad to hear that.
In this whole White House saga.
Yeah, it's important to remember that these aren't just abstract political dramas.
Right.
They have real-world consequences that affect all of us.
They do. And It's up to us to stay informed and engaged.
Yes.
So we can shape the future that we want to see.
Well said. As always, the journey of knowledge continues.
It does.
Stay curious, stay informed, and stay engaged.
And until next time, keep diving deep.